So these notes should pick right up where the last notes ended. So it should start with this, area of a rhombus. Everybody see where we're at. Remember, a rhombus has 4 sides that are congruent. So if you're looking at a rhombus, this is the formula we use. It's 1/2 times the product of the diagonals. What's product mean? You multiply. So you'll sometimes see it look like this, 1/2 D1 times D2. Where D1 is diagonal 1, D2 is diagonal 2. Okay? We just discussed that D1 and D2 are both the diagonals. Diagonal 1, diagonal 2. Multiplication is commutative, so it doesn't really matter which one you designate as 1 and 2. You just multiply the diagonals together, multiply it by 1/2. Now, multiplying by 1/2 is the same thing as dividing by 2. So you could just do diagonal times diagonal and divide by 2. All right, so right where we stopped, example 5, kind of weird. It's been like a week since we've done these, but trust me, we were on example 5. Find the area of the rhombus. So to find the area of the rhombus, what do? You do D1 times D2 and multiply that by 1/2. So D1 is what? Doesn't matter. The first diagonal, the second diagonal, it doesn't matter which one you call which, okay? Now, the cool thing is you could multiply the 1/2 and the 10 first. What's 1/2 of 10? 5. And then 5 times 14, you could do it that way. Or you can multiply the 10 and the 14 and then take 1/2 of that. It doesn't really matter. Okay? No matter how you multiply it, you should end up with 70 square inches. Now, on number 6, it's not as easy as just multiplying the 2 numbers together, because this formula uses the whole diagonal. So if this is 6, this side would also be 6. Remember, in a rhombus, the diagonals bisect one another? Yes. So the whole diagonal would be what? 12. Good. And this whole diagonal would be 18. Good. So we have to use the 12 and the 18 because we need the length of the whole diagonal, and these are both just half the diagonal. Okay? Does that make sense? All right, so once again, you could do like 6 times 18, you could do 9 times 12, you can multiply these together and then take half of it. Just kind of depends on which one makes the most sense to you. Either way, when you multiply these out, you should get 108. And this is area we're talking about, so you need square meters, not just meters. All right. The next thing we're going to look at is conversion. So we've done a little bit of this when we did ratios. If something was in inches and we'd want it in feet, or if it was in feet and we'd want it in inches. So we've done some of these already. Like I was talking about, maybe if it was in year and we wanted months, or if it was in inches and we wanted feet. We've done some of these already, okay? The ones you probably haven't seen are these down here, the ones about area, since we just learned area last week. But, like I said, I'll give you all a copy of these so you have them, and then we'll talk about how to use them on our next slide. So, here is our first example on conversions. So it says, convert the following using fractions. Shh, quiet down, guys.
We have to look.
Do you have this one? Yeah. Just jump to that one. You should have a blank, I think. So I think your notes had 2 more rhombus examples. You can skip those. The rhombuses are easy. Jump to the conversions. So we're going to convert the following using fractions, round to 2 decimal places where necessary. So 4.5 feet, we want to convert that to inches. So when you have your conversion table, you'd look right here. Number of feet to the number of inches. Okay? So what we are going to do is we are going to write a ratio for these. Okay? So I am going to write these as feet over inches. Okay? And I'm looking for the number of inches here. Everybody with me? So if I do feet over inches, how many feet and how many inches do you get from your conversion? So 1 foot or feet equals how many inches? 12. Good. Okay? How many feet do I have in this problem? 4.5. How many inches will that equal? I don't know, right? That's what I'm looking for. So that's where my X goes. So we are going to cross multiply here. Okay? And I'm going to forget about the units for a second. So 1 times X is 1X, right? What is 12 times 4.5? 54 sounds about right. Okay. Sometimes we'll have to divide here. We have 1 by itself. So 54, what are we talking about? Inches. Good. Your first conversion, how'd you feel about it? Some people keep the units along with it, which I don't know. It's cool the way they cancel out. I find it to be more work than it's necessary. I put them here just to remind you that we have feet over inches, feet over inches. So make sure however you label the first ratio, that's how you label the rest of them, okay? But from now on, I probably will not put the labels within the proportion. Questions? The next one, what are the 2 things we're talking about? Okay, kilometers and miles. Which one do you want to put on top? Miles, okay. So I'll do miles over kilometers each time. All right, so how many miles and how many kilometers do we get from over here? So 1 mile equals how many kilometers? 1.61, okay? Now, go back to miles. We're looking for the number of miles, so what will I put here? The X, good. And then what goes on the bottom? The number of kilometers. Well, how many kilometers do I have? 13, good. And then we cross multiply. So 13 equals 1.61 times X. So I need to divide 13 by 1.61. So I am not going to do that in my head. That sounds terrible. So 13 divided by 1.61. And it says round to 2 decimal places. You got 12? It's 8.07 with a 4 after it. So the 4 makes the 7 stay the same. So 8.07. And what are we talking about? Number. The variable was on the top. I always had miles on the top. So this is miles. Questions?
No.
Wait, I gotta think this.
All right, here's number 3. So we want 23.5 quarts. We want that in cups, okay? So I'm going to put quarts on top and cups on the bottom. What information do I get from over here? 1 quart equals 4 cups. So the ratio is 1 to 4, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Is 23.5 going to go up top or in the bottom?
In the bottom. On top. It's in the bottom.
What do I have on the top?
Quarts.
Quarts. This is quarts, so it goes up where the quarts go. Okay, and I'm looking for the number of cups, so that's where my X goes.
Quarts stand for quarters.
Quart stands for quarts. We're not talking about money, we're talking about like measurement, like cooking, recipes, like a quart of milk.
Talk about like ounces and...
You cannot convert quarters into cups. I am never eating cookies that you have prepared.
It's called melting quarters.
All right, cross multiply.
Teaspoons of butter.
We have 1x equals... You are correct. 94 what?
Quarts. Cups.
The X was on the bottom. The bottom represents cups.
97 cups.
No one has 97 cups. They have 94 cups.
Who has 94 cups?
If you're like making a recipe for a whole bunch of people.
I use 3 cups.
All right, here's number 4. So we have 3,450 pounds to ounces. So real quick, what weighs more, a pound or an ounce?
A pound.
A pound. So if you have this many pounds, when you change it to ounces, should your answer be bigger than this or smaller than
It
this?
should be bigger because it's
It
more.
should be way bigger because each unit represents a smaller weight. So you can check yourself in the end to see if you've done it right. Just sort of think, should my answer be bigger than or smaller than what I started with? And a lot of times you can catch yourself because there's really a lot of times only 2 ways to multiply these out.
2 ounces of soda.
Okay, so do you want pounds or ounces on top? Pounds. Do you know that the LBS is pounds? And ounces is actually OZ. This always bothered me as a student because neither one of them. I don't know. Okay, so from our chart, what information do I need? 1 pound equals 16 ounces. Okay? So where does the 3,450 go? On the top. That's where my pounds are. And then X on the bottom. All right, so 16 times 3,400. Oh my. And what are we talking about? Ounces. Good. Questions?
No, ma'am. What time we gonna get our homework?
I don't know. When we get all these done.
I mean, we have.
Look at your notes.
notes back in
So gave you like 4.
All right.
2.
Shh. Liters to gallons. This one always gets me.
Yeah, I like 2 liters. But then I like getting the gallon.
Have you ever driven, I think in Canada, the gas is in liters?
Yeah.
Yeah, freaks me out every time. Okay.
Gallons.
So we need, where is the information? Right here, right? All right, so we're going to put liters, gallons. All right, so I'm going to use the information they gave me first. So 1 liter and 0.264 gallons. And then what? 41 liters on top. And then the X is on the bottom. Good. So when I cross multiply, I have 1X equals... What'd you get? 10.824, but we are rounding to 2 decimal places. So it would be 10.82. And what are we talking about? Gallons.
They throwing goldfish.
So inches and meters. Do you see that on here anywhere? Uh-oh. Do you see inches at all?
Y'all say inches in one and meter in one.
Okay, so we have... Trying to think if there's multiple ways to do this. I don't think so. So now we have to kind of find a pathway. So I can turn inches into what? So I can turn inches into centimeters, and then I can turn centimeters into meters. All right? So it's going to be like 2 problems in one. So first I'm going to turn the inches into centimeters. All right? Then I'm going to go meters and centimeters, okay? So we are setting up first inches and centimeters. So what do I know about inches and centimeters? 1, 2.540, okay? And how many inches do I have? 108. So that's going to give me how many centimeters? Okay? I got 108 from the directions. All right. So when I cross multiply, I have X equals, now we need to do 108 times 2.540. Now on this one, I am not going to round until the very end, which it's 2 places right now, so you're good. That's like phase 1. So this represents how many centimeters are in 108 inches. Now, from there, I'm going to use this guy. I'm going to do meters over centimeters. So 1 meter is 100 centimeters. This is centimeters, so it's going to go in our denominator. And what goes right here? The X. Or if you want to use a different variable, maybe we'll call it an M this time, okay? So you don't get your steps confused. When we cross multiply, we have 100M equals 274.32. Divide by 100, and what do you end up with? 2. Yeah, you basically just move the decimal 2 places. We're rounding to 2 decimal places. So once you do the jumps, after the 4, there's a 3. So does the 4 go up or stay the same? Stays the same. So our answer is going to be 2.74 meters. All right, this was kind of a tricky one, like 2 problems in one. The hard part is deciding which path you want to follow. Originally, I had the urge to go to feet, from inches to feet, and then feet to meters, but I couldn't find that over here. Oh, yeah, I could. It would have been right here. That should give you the same answer. If you want to double check it using a different path, you can. But I'm pretty confident in what we've done here. Any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Let's continue. Does this match your 7? I know you have 2 less than me, so I'm not sure where they drop off. All right, so grams and ounces. Is that a conversion we can do in one step? It is. It's the first one right over here. So I'm going to do ounces on top, grams on the bottom. So from my conversion table, I know that 1 ounce is 28.350 grams. I'm looking for ounces. So is my variable going to go in my numerator or my denominator? The top or the bottom? Let's do though. I'm looking for ounces. Where are my ounces?
Oh.
Yeah, that's what's going to get everyone is where does the variable go? That's why if you flip-flop them, you'll end up with a bigger answer when you were supposed to have smaller, or smaller when you're supposed to have bigger. So that's why I encourage you to kind of ask yourself, does this make sense when you're all done, okay? The 320
Wait.
goes in the denominator. Yes, I will wait.
Never mind.
Got it? Okay, and this would be one where grams weigh less than ounces. Ounces weigh more. So if you're going from grams to ounces, your answer should be smaller because it's less ounces and more grams, okay?
What's grams?
All right. Grams, not Instagrams. Okay. When you cross multiply, we get 320 equals 28.35x. So we need to divide 320 divided by 28.35. All right, how will I round this one? I'm going to show you guys real quick. I'll put this little guy. So you get this if you don't have a calculator. Because I foresee rounding being an issue. If I want to round this to 2 decimals, what would my answer be? 2 places after the decimal. So 11 point. Okay. So 2 numbers after the decimal would be the 8. I look to the right of the 8 to decide what to do with the 8. Does 7 make the 8 go up or stay the same? Okay, so your answer should have only 2 numbers after the decimal. And I am looking for ounces. My variable was in the numerator. That's where my ounces were. Either way you want to distinguish, you should end up with an answer that has an ounce after it, or ounces. Questions? All right, we are going to do one more example, and then I'm going to pass out your homework. Are we good on this one? Okay. I haven't graded them yet. We talked about this for a pretty long time at the beginning of class. All right, cups and quarts. Is that one we can do in one step?
Yep.
Okay, it's right here. Do you want cups on top or quarts on top? I don't care. Cups. All right, so we're going to do cups over quarts. Can you stop, please? Trying to get through an example. Thanks. Okay, so from here, what do I know?
Then 1 quart equals 4 cups.
Okay, but I have cups on top, so what needs to go on top? So yeah, go the other way. 4 over 1 equals 90 over X. Okay. So a quart is bigger. It has more volume than a cup. So if I'm going from cups to quarts, should I end up with an answer that's bigger than 90 or smaller than 90? Smaller. Yes, you're putting a bunch of little cups into big quarts, okay? So when I cross multiply, I get 4x equals 90. What is 90 divided by 4?
No, I'm sure it's 22.5.
22.5 quarts. Good. Okay, so that is all we're doing today as far as the notes. I am going to pass out your homework. Your homework is really heavy with the conversions. I actually don't even know if there's a rhombus on there. There might be a couple. So don't forget the rhombus thing. We will come back to it. But mostly today's homework focuses on this. And I do have conversion tables to give you as well. Any questions before the homework comes out?